Hello everybody, in this video we are going to set up version control for Unity. So first thing we need to do is either sign in or sign up for a Unity account. I already have an account obviously, so I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. Okay, I am now signed in. So version control, very useful, very powerful tool that we are going to be not getting too deep into this semester, but we are going to cover the very basics of it, depending on what kind of interests you have in the field of game development. You may or may not be using version control a lot in the future, but regardless, you should know how it works. And in this case, we're going to set up a project for Unity and then test it out a little bit. So let's go ahead and create a new repository for ourselves. We can give it any name we want. I'm going to call this, I'm going to have a bunch of test names here. I'm going to call this Unity Git Test. It's fine, easy. Description is optional. I'm not going to worry about that right now, but if you want a description, go ahead. Public or private, I'm going to make it a private repository so that only I can see this and people that I share it with. Finally, the next thing that we want to add is a git ignore. In this case, we want to add a Unity git ignore. Git ignores essentially are going to simplify and streamline the process of cloning your repositories and not committing certain files. Whenever you work with Unity in your own machines, there are a lot of unnecessary files that are added in with any given Unity project that only work best locally. And if we don't add a git ignore for Unity right now, then later on down the line, whenever we try to commit anything or try to upload anything to GitHub, it's just going to slow everything down unnecessarily if we don't do this. So we're going to add a git ignore for Unity to make sure things are streamlined and going at a decent pace. We can add a README file if we want to. I'm not going to in this case. You can if you want, again, depending on your uses. You can add a README, but I'm not going to. I'm going to create this repository. Very simple, very straightforward. And there we go. We have our repository, our Unity Git test. Now we can just open up the GitHub desktop right here and work from in here. I'm going to sign in. Okay, so I am now signed in. By the way, I just went up here to File, Options, and then just signed in. I'm already signed in, as you can see. Cancel. I'm going to add in the repository that I created online in the on GitHub.com, this Unity Git test. I'm going to add it into my GitHub desktop here. I have a list of current repositories that I'm currently using right now. I'm going to add. I am going to clone repository. There's my Unity Git test. I'm going to clone it, but first I need to make sure I choose an appropriate path for it, an appropriate spot within my computer. In this case, it's going to my desktop, and in my desktop, it is creating a file, it's creating a folder called Unity Git Test. For the purposes of this demo, that's fine, but for you, wherever you want to actually place it in your computer, make sure you place it carefully, and then just clone. So we're going to go ahead and clone. This should be very quick because there's nothing in there aside from the git ignore. There we go. We are in the current repository, Unity Git Test. Our current branch is main. We're not going to worry about branches in this video. We are going to talk about them in the future, though. We can fetch our origin for any updates that happen on other machines that were uploaded to GitHub. Nothing now, obviously, because we just created this repository, and it's only for this one machine right now for demo purposes. But these two things we will cover in more depth in the future. For now, we have created our repository. It's time to create a Unity project and make sure we properly work it into our GitHub here. Okay, here is Unity Hub opened up. I'm going to create a new project very, very quickly. Just 3D core, nothing special. Project name, we can name it whatever we want. I'm going to call it Git Scene. Why not? I'm just going to put this in my desktop in general. It's not going to be in the Unity Git test folder yet. I'm going to put it in there afterwards. For now, I'm just going to put it into the desktop as it's or into my where is it? My lecture project stuff for now. And we don't need to connect to Unity Cloud, and we can just create the project. We'll give that a second to open up. Okay, our project is created, as you can see here. We don't need to actually do anything with the project right now. We just need to create it. So I am just going to close it up. We have our Git scene here. I'm going to go ahead and open up the desktop here so I can track down where that project is, which should be within the lecture project here. Git scene, hello. I'm going to take these folders here. I am going to cut. I am going to go to my desktop, my main desktop where Unity Git test is. Right now, the only thing that's in there is that git ignore that we created when we first made the repository. You could also have a README file here if you had created a README as well. But for now, we just have the git ignore. I'm going to paste in my Unity project files. All this stuff right here is the only stuff that really matters when it comes to when it comes to setting up your GitHub repository with your Unity project. Specifically, this stuff doesn't really matter right now. Just the folders. So wonderful. We have that. If we go here to our GitHub desktop, we can see 27 changed files. All those folders and files that were within those folders that were brought into the into Unity Git test are now in there. So perfect. We can go ahead and commit this. So in order to actually commit any changes that you make, you have to come down here and provide a summary and description. The summary at the very least. So I'm going to say for the summary here, I created Unity project. And for the description, it's optional, but I'll just say that I created a blank scene with Unity 3D core template. That's fine. And I will commit this to the main branch. I will push the origin. I will push to the origin, I should say, which is the online here. And now, if I go back online and I reload this this right here, then we will see the folders that we added in, the assets package project settings that were created by the Unity project that I added in are now here in the GitHub repository. So those are the technical steps to actually create a Unity project with version control, specifically with GitHub. In the next video, we're going to cover why this is so useful, and in the video after that, we'll cover collaborators for Unity projects. So I hope these technical steps helped. I'll see you for the next video.